to open us in a word of prayer. If you can please join me, that would be great. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this beautiful day and for this amazing opportunity to come together in your name to celebrate these incredibly talented young men and women. Lord, we pray that you would continue to bless these amazing students in all of their efforts and in what you have planned for them next. We also ask that you continue to keep them healthy and safe and centered on you and your will as they move on to this exciting next chapter in their lives. We thank you again for this time together and ask that you continue to bless us as we work to pursue you daily. In your precious and holy name we pray. Amen. All right, well, thank you all again for coming today and for your continued support of Orange Lutheran Athletics. We are so blessed to celebrate this day together and to recognize these amazing young men and women for all that they have accomplished. We are so proud of their diligent efforts and for all of the hard work they've poured into achieving this incredible goal. And we know that none of this would be possible without the steadfast support of their families and friends. It is their loved ones who have been there for them along the way and who have helped them to achieve this amazing goal. We also acknowledge and appreciate their amazing coaches with the servant hearts that they have and for their continued mentorship and tireless efforts in supporting all of these Lancers. They have played an important role in these students' lives, and we are blessed to have them as part of our athletic department. As we move forward with today's festivities, I leave each of you with the encouragement to remain centered and focused on the Lord, as he will always carry you through. Never forget that his love is abundant and unconditional. At this time, please direct your attention to the screens for a brief opening video. What a great tribute to these incredible athletes. Let's give them a hand, please. It is now my honor and privilege to welcome up to the stand Coach Miklos, who will continue with our celebration this morning. Thank you.
Wow, such a large group, such an accomplishment. So many hours of dedication and hard work are represented here, and they've all achieved a milestone in their career, and I'd like to congratulate all of them. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Jordan Villanueva. Jordan will be continuing her softball career at Bethune-Cookman University in Daytona Beach, Florida, D1 program. Jordan is a four-year varsity player for us. She is has a big bat and a really strong arm. Jordan's really funny off the field, but when she steps into the behind the plate, she's all serious, and it's no nonsense. She's done a great job this year working with our younger pitchers, so I've really appreciated that. She's a great kid. Jordan also plays on the junior national Mexican team. She was fortunate enough to go to, I think, Peru and Colombia this fall to play games down there. Bethune-Cookman is getting a great kid, a hard worker, and an all-around great kid. I would also like to thank her parents, the Villanueva family, for all their support these past 4 years. Especially Louis has done anything we've ever asked, whatever we need, he's right there to help out. So we've really appreciated that as a program. I'd like to thank you guys. With that, I'd like to wish Jordan all the success in the world and congratulate her on reaching this milestone in her career. It's well earned and well deserved. Jordan Villanueva. With that, I'd like to bring back up Jasmine Anderson.
On behalf of Aquatics and Coach Kellen Carlson, it is my honor to speak to you this morning about Caden Ladesis. I want to begin by thanking the Lord for the Ladesis family for choosing to send their sons to OLU to not only further their water polo careers, but to let Caden and his brothers really become part of the OLU aquatic family. They have been there every step of the way with us and watched Caden grow to not just a water polo player that will further his playing career at the Air Force Academy, but a man with a vision of where he wants to go, how he wants to serve the Lord, and how he's willing to stand up and represent the United States of America as a member of the Air Force. Most of you know Caden can be a bit of a jokester and a pretty easygoing guy. But with this comes an athlete that will do whatever coach asks. Not a complaint, just a yes sir attitude of understanding. He's being asked to accomplish a mission, and that's his way. One of his qualities as a water polo player is that of being a utility guy. For those that don't know, in any sport, those utility players are sometimes the most needed players. They can fit in multiple positions, offensively, defensively, and create a valuable flexibility. That right there is Caden. We asked him to set 2 meters on offense. We asked him to guard 2 meters on defense. We asked him to be a driver and a post-up. Whatever we asked him, he did. And with that ability, I see him growing as he goes to the academy and continuing to be a utility for the academy, the nation, and even more so for his family, friends, and God. As we see Caden take this step to commit to the Air Force Academy, I feel more confident that we see a man committing to continue to grow and become an alum of OLU that we'll all be proud of. Caden, we are so proud of you, and we can't wait to see what your focus, grit, and determination will bring as you enter into this next phase of your career and life. Let's please give Caden a hand. It is now my honor and privilege to welcome up the amazing Kristen Goosens, who will continue with our celebration for this morning. Thank you.
All right, good morning. I just want to first say hello and thank you to our distance group and track group over here. Jonathan, I see you up there, so thank you to our families, to Dale, Amy, Ken, James, and Siggy. Thank you This is also a day to honor and celebrate you as well for the time commitment that you've put into all of your kids. We're so very proud of them, both TJ and myself. So without any further ado, I'm going to begin talking about Hannah Doring. One of my first memories and first practices at OLU, we did a run to a spot called Thousands Loop. Not knowing the kids very well, I took more of a backseat role and let my coaches guide me through the area and through the workout. When we sent the kids running back to school, I watched several of our girls walk, hide, and try to find alternative routes. Getting back, the girls' team and I had a little talk. I quickly called out that there were only 2 girls that I truly saw working their hardest the entire day. One of them was our team captain, Megan, and the other one was Hannah. To my disbelief, I had learned that Hannah was not one of our current varsity runners. This truly surprised me. I was completely impressed at her work ethic and her heart and her commitment to her team and to her teammates. Over the past 3 years, Hannah has continued to make an imprint on this program. Its athletes, the coaching staff. If I could define Hannah in 2 terms, it would be compassion and commitment. Hannah was unanimously selected by the coaching staff to be one of our team captains. She notices the needs of her teammates. She's always the first to send me a text or a phone call and says, "Hey coach, I think you need to check in on so-and-so. They're having a rough time. It sounds like it would come a little bit better from you." And I appreciate that, Hannah. I don't know if your teammates know just the number of talks and times that we've had of how much that you dedicate in terms of your care towards them. She's always the first to volunteer to get the incoming freshmen together before the team starts training so that they can feel a part of the program. Now let's move on to her commitment. Hannah does not miss practices. In fact, she's the kid that when she's on vacation, she's messaging you to find out what the run was for the day so she can make it and make sure that she gets it done. She does her time trials out of the state to qualify for the team camps. And she's even that girl that changes event groups to work on her speed and prepare herself for her college endeavors. Hannah, you've had such a tremendous impact on this program, and I wish you the best of luck at Pepperdine, and go Waves. All right, the next athlete I'm going to talk about is Lauren Landreth, or Lolo as we call her. I couldn't give any higher compliments to this young lady, Lolo, as she's heard us say many a times. She's one of the greatest human beings I have and probably will ever meet in my entire life. I think that there's what you do as an athlete and the accolades that you acquire, but I also think that when all of that wears away as we get older, which it definitely does, kids, so just be prepared, it's truly who you are as a person, and I couldn't speak any higher of who Lolo is as a person. So let's begin with some of these sports accolades that she possesses. Lolo's been Trinity League, All-League, and Cross Country 2 of her 4 years at OLU. As a sophomore, she was part of the CIF championship team for cross country, and a team that earned 3rd place in the California State Meet and set the 8th fastest time ever run. She's a 2-time team captain for both cross country and in track, and she quite literally has won every single award that this team has to offer, from MVP to the coveted Ponce Award after the late Guy Ponce. However, while highly decorated, none of this compares to who Lolo is off the athletic field. She is unbelievably giving. She puts the needs of her teammates pretty much before hers on a daily basis, except for when it comes to making sure that she completes her mileage. She's so focused. She knows what she wants to accomplish, and there's pretty much nothing that's going to get in her way. She'll give her blood, sweat, and tears and every ounce of effort to make sure that she can accomplish her dreams. She's unbelievably kind. Her infectious smile says it all. Every time she shows it in the morning, it's 6:45 by the time we get here, and she literally lights up my day with her cute little smile from grin to grin. But sometimes when I'm having the worst of days as an adult, you kind of look at Lolo and you're like, all right, there's hope in the world. She's a definite competitor. She has a high level of character and integrity. She's an amazing leader in this program, and she goes the extra mile, quite literally, in every aspect of her life. I've said this to you before, but one of the greatest compliments I could give is I hope that when my 2 daughters get older, that they can grow to be somewhat of the woman that you are today. Congratulations, Lolo. Next up is TJ Oros to talk about Nate Patton.
Hello, I have the privilege of speaking about Nate today. Nate came to Orange Lutheran as a shy little freshman without any idea of the impact he would have on the boys program over the next 4 years. He ended up being a 4-year varsity runner, a CIF qualifier. He contributed in distances ranging from the 400 all the way to 3 miles in cross country, and he really found his passion for the 800 over the last couple years. After a couple of tough races this year, we had some conversations to figure out if he really wanted to compete at the next level. And although there was some doubts, it took just one big race to remind him of why he really loves this sport. And since we're all here talking about him, you already know what his decision was. Nate, I'm so glad that you want to continue your running career at Carroll. You have so much untapped potential, and I can't wait to see what you do there. Your talent has been so valuable to our program these last 4 years, but even more valuable was your constant, steady presence that the rest of the boys' team could rely on. Your teammates knew that you would step up in big races. Time after time, you performed when it mattered most, rightfully earning the Clutch Runner Award. Besides your reliability on the course, your teammates knew you would be there to support them when they struggled. Thank you for that. That's what makes us as coaches the most proud. We are so excited to see you continue to grow as an athlete and as a person during your time at Carroll College. We have no doubt that you will succeed. Congrats, Nate. I'd like to invite up Coach Borba to speak about the baseball team.
Good morning, everyone. What a great day. This is a day that you guys are going to remember for the rest of your lives, and make sure you take advantage of that. Parents, thank you guys. As a coach that's been here for 14 years, we know the work and the sacrifice that you put in to getting these kids here, and this is as big of a day for you as it is for anybody else. I got plenty of guys to talk about today, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. But I just want to say this is, as collectively as a group, this is one of the finest groups of players that we've ever had come through Orange Lutheran, but more importantly, it's one of the finest group of young men that we've ever had come through Orange Lutheran. It's been a pure joy to coach each of these guys, to go to the field. They make a guy that's been around coaching for a while feel young again and enjoy going to the field as much as I ever have. So as you can see by the places they're going to be attending, they're going to some of the best baseball schools in the country, and they're going to do some big things. So thank you to all of you guys. I'm going to start with Mikey Romero. Mikey is signed with LSU. Quick little story about Mikey. I first saw Mikey back in August of 2015. I was the 12U national team coach in 2016. And I was in Cary, North Carolina, and there was this little guy playing shortstop for the San Diego Show, I think it was. I don't even remember which team, but this little guy playing shortstop that had the eye black on and just completely taking care of the field. Complete leader on the field, and he was a pretty good little player too. And I sat there up in a press box in North Carolina. I said, that guy's going to be my shortstop next summer on the national team. The first day I ever saw him. Let alone he became our shortstop and 3-hitter on the national team in 2016, led us to a silver medal. And then, Mikey lives in Menifee, which is kind of far away. So as much as I had the dream of Mikey coming to Orange Lutheran, it wasn't a reality when he was younger. And then COVID hit and ended our season prematurely there in 2020. And all of a sudden, my son, Casey, gets a text from Mikey saying, hey, I'm coming to Orange Lutheran next year. And Casey comes running over to me and he's like, hey, Mikey wants to come to Orange Lutheran next year. And I was like, hey, he's a high-profile player. He's got to go through the whole process. But sure enough, Mikey ends up playing for me. So I've had an unbelievably long relationship, knowing Mikey and watching him grow, and just especially proud of him. I want to talk a little bit about his makeup. I mean, he is one of the highest, one of the biggest prospects in the nation for baseball this year as far as going to the Major League Draft. And the best way I can describe him to the scouts is he's a Derek Jeter or Tom Brady kind of makeup kid. And I really believe that about him. Every day he comes to the ballpark or he comes to the weight room, wherever it is he is, he's leading by example. He's the first guy to reach out and call his teammates, support his teammates, whatever it might be. I mean, his talents speak for himself. I really believe he's going to hit 300 at every level of baseball he's ever going to play, and I think he's going to have a long major league career after that career he has playing for the Tigers down in Louisiana. So, Mikey, thank you for being a tremendous player, but an even better teammate. Next, here to my right is Carson Bowen, who signed with TCU. Just like Mikey, I met Carson way back in 2015 at the USA NTIS stuff as well. He was a catcher back in Cary, North Carolina, and I was scouting, trying to find the best players for our 12U team, and right away I noticed the talents and abilities of Carson. Well, then I look at the roster where everybody's from, and it just so happens he's from Anaheim Hills. So I'm like, man, this kid not only is probably going to catch for me on the national team, but he's going to end up coming to Orange Lutheran too. All is good. So for the last 6-7 years now, Carson and I have developed a pretty darn good relationship. As a former catcher myself, we immediately hit it off, and I really just saw the impact that he had as a player. And going back to when he was 11 and 12 on that national team, he was really known for his offense. He was a middle-of-the-order bat, and it was a question on whether or not that he would ever be a catcher down the road, because he was just okay behind the plate, but he was a really good hitter. Fast forward now 7 years later, and Carson is the best defensive catcher in the country. He still swings the bat too, but he is known to be the number one catch and throw catcher in the country. He's done a tremendous job for us. He's one of the few guys that's played varsity here at Orange Lutheran for 4 years. And I just want to give you some numbers that I was kind of looking at yesterday. He started over 70 games in 4 years for us at Orange Lutheran. He actually played right field and pitched a little bit as a freshman and a sophomore, and he moved behind the plate his junior year. But as a catcher, you're kind of the leader of the team. And over the 4 years that Carson has been our program, our team is a combined 87 and 15 behind his leadership, which is pretty amazing. Not only that, but Carson's a tremendous student in the classroom. He carries a 3.8 GPA. So we're really going to miss you, but we're really looking forward to seeing what you do over the next 4 years, Carson. Next to my left is Luis Rodriguez, also committed to sign now with TCU. And another guy that was a member of that USA national team that I was able to coach in 2016. Luis immediately made an impact as a pitcher from the time he was 11 years old. You could tell the difference that he brought to the game, just the fierce competitiveness that he brought to the table, his stuff. I tell all the scouts and everything, like, he cannot throw the ball straight, which in baseball is a good thing for a pitcher. Everything he throws cuts, and he's been one of the most dominating pitchers ever to come through Orange Lutheran, one of the most dominating pitchers ever in the state of California. He actually went to St. John Bosco as a freshman, was an all-league performer there at St. John Bosco, transferred to Orange Lutheran. Unfortunately, with COVID and the sit-out period, he had to miss his sophomore year. But the last 2 years, he has been our horse. I actually call him El Caballo, because he is the horse on the mound. Every time that he is going to take the mound, he's going to give us a chance to win. He competes his tail off and just does everything you could ask for. Last year as a junior, Luis went 11-4 with a 1.53 ERA, and this year he's 7-0 with a 0.78 ERA, which is just unbelievable. But I think the most impressive thing, whether you know baseball or not, the most impressive thing about Luis is that over the last 2 years, he has 129 strikeouts and only 14 walks. Pretty unbelievable. The amount of strikes that he throws. Just last week in the Boris tournament, he threw a complete game for us. He was at 52 pitches through 6 innings and gave us a win there in the quarterfinal game. But this man's work ethic is just tremendous. He gets up every morning about 5 o'clock in the morning to do his training and do his workout, really committed to his trade. I think that we're going to see Lewis going in the Major League draft in July. But if he doesn't and chooses to go to TCU, it's going to be awesome to see these guys together there at TCU. So Lewis, thank you. Good luck. Next to Lewis is Gabe Miranda. He's our first baseman and also does a little bit of pitching, a left-handed pitcher. He's a 3-year starter for us. I didn't know Gabe like I knew these other 3 guys before they came to Orange Lutheran, but I had heard about him. He and Carson were really good friends, played for Jose Murillo and GBG where my son had played, and so I had known Gabe a little bit, really excited about him coming to Orange Lutheran, and he just immediately made an impact for us. Again, as I said, Carson played 4 years on varsity, Gabe 3 years. They're a huge part of that record that I talked about earlier. But the one thing about Gabe is he is one of the most trustworthy, reliable kids that you could ever ask for. And I ask our kids all the time, can your teammates rely on you? And I think that the biggest trait that Gabe has is that everybody can rely on him. He is always going to come in the right frame of mind. He's always going to go about the game the right way. He's going to treat his teammates the right way. You never, as a coach, have to worry about anything that he might do that, with a bad decision. I mean, he just always does everything right, and he always does it with a smile. He is just a joy for the players to be around. He makes everybody around him better because of his work ethic. I think he's one of the most respected guys that have ever come through here. Although he's not the most vocal player, he raises the bar for everybody around him. Also in the classroom, Gabe has maintained a 3.7 GPA, which is pretty impressive considering the travel and everything that these guys do with baseball. So Gabe, awesome job and good luck to you down the road. Next to Gabe is Oliver Santos. Oliver has signed with Duke University, and Oliver actually just transferred here to Orange Lutheran as a senior before this year, which was a true gift from God for our program. He has become like another Luis Rodriguez on the mound for us. Between the two of them, we have the top 2 pitchers in the state of California, if you ask me. The 1-2 punch is pretty special, but back in April, about a year ago, I actually got approached from an agent telling me, hey, I have this left-handed pitcher that wants to transfer to Orange Lutheran. We think he needs to be there because we think he's a high-end draft prospect. And I said, well, what school's he at now? And they said, well, he's actually homeschooled. He doesn't go to school. And I said, well, where does he live? And they said Costa Mesa or Newport. And I was like, shoot, he wants to come to Orange Lutheran, tell him to fill out the application and come. And so as a coach, you start doing all this research, right? And it's always kind of a gray area on whether or not you want a senior transfer to come in because the dynamic can change quickly when you have a new player come into the program. Anyway, after watching him play a little bit last summer and knowing that he was coming, I mean, it was a true blessing to have Oliver come into our program. Not only has he added that piece to our pitching staff and to our team that we needed, but he's been a guy that's really kept the dugout loose. I think he brings smiles, to the dugout. And a lot of times we play in some very tight competition, and Oliver seems to be the one that always gets a smile, a good laugh out of the guys. But he's been tremendous for us on the mound. He's 6-0 with an ERA of 0.74 this year. And just done amazing things for us on the mound. He's going to continue to do amazing things on the road. And in the classroom, Oliver has got a 4.08 GPA. So just getting it done in all areas. So Oliver, thank you. Good luck, buddy. Next to Oliver is Brian Martinez, who signed with Long Beach State University. Brian transferred into Orange Lutheran prior to his junior year. And it was actually in January of his junior year, so he had the sit-out period. And we knew he had an impact bat coming into our lineup. But when you have to sit 30 days, and last year we had a pretty good team, it was tough to get him on the field because we were into our season, about 15 or 16 games already. And so he came in with the right work ethic and just continued to play the role that was asked of him. Getting some at-bats and having some impact at-bats last year as a junior, but we knew going into his senior year that he was going to be an impact guy for us. He has started I don't know, 95% of our games in right field and hitting in the middle of our order, and is an impact bat for us. I also saw Brian back in 2015 at the USA stuff and kind of followed his career throughout. And to see where he was then to where he is now, just as a tribute to how hard he's worked on the baseball field. Because even now I daily get asked by scouts and stuff that don't know Brian because he hasn't had as big of a name maybe as some of these other guys up here, who this kid is because of the lightning in his bat. It's going to be special to watch him continue to grow in college, and we're going to be able to do it right down the street at Long Beach State. Brian, just keep doing what you're doing, and the path is very bright for you, man. So thank you. Glad to have the opportunity to coach you, and good luck. These next two guys absolutely represent what it means, to keep pursuit of your dreams in athletics. For a lot of these guys, that path was determined very early. They were high-end prospects that were going to be seen by major Division I universities. These next two guys, it was a little bit different. They really trusted the process. And it's one thing that I say to parents and families when they first come to Orange Lutheran, like, the path is different for every single athlete. And these two guys, their path is pretty awesome to look at and see their journey and where it's taken them. So first, I'd like to start with J.D. Rodriguez, who signed with University of Southern California. Really cool thing. J.D. last year, at the beginning of his junior year, wasn't quite where we wanted him to be, and we asked him to go to pitch on JVs because we wanted him to get the innings to develop. As many of you know, as a junior, that can be a hard pill to swallow. To go down to JVs, but JD willingly and openly accepted that assignment, went to junior varsity and worked on it. And then last summer, just basically put his blinders on and went to work to become the best player he can. Immediately when we came back in the fall, you saw the change in him physically. His body was way better. His ability to pitch was way better. He added 7 or 8 miles an hour to his fastball. And it was just tremendous to see that change from the end of last season to the beginning of this season. So immediately this fall, he starts throwing bullpens and he's throwing 90 miles an hour. And all of a sudden, he's getting a lot of attention from the local schools and colleges. So I know it was his dream to sign with the University of Southern California. And when Coach Gill from USC came to Hart Park to watch him pitch and then later offered him a scholarship, I was just extremely proud. It was an amazing, amazing story for JD. To overcome some of the adversity that he's dealt with and to get to where he's at now and to be playing in the Pac-12 is pretty awesome, and that development is just going to continue to take place. So, JD, congratulations on the hard work. And last but definitely not least is Sawyer Vortman. You see that smile on his face. I could talk about this kid for days. I know you guys are tired of hearing me talk, so I'll keep it shorter, but when you talk about somebody that you would like your daughter to marry, Sawyer Vortman and what he brings to the table is exactly that. The kid is one of the most well-respected kids on campus, not just on the team, but he has all of those attributes that you want in a young man. He's a leader. He brings a smile. He brings an energy. He's a total team player, whatever the role is that's asked of him. He's played outfield. He's pitched over his career. He's done a lot of different things for us, but he's the guy at the end of the dugout next to the coaches, always asking questions, always trying to get better and learn. About 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago, Sawyer came to me. He's like, "Hey, Coach, my dream school is Baylor University. Do you think you can help me get there?" And I was like, man, these are pretty high expectations, for a guy that Baylor's in the Big 12, and I was like, I don't know. That's pretty lofty expectations, but I'll see what I can do. Immediately called the Baylor coaches, and they added him to his list, but wanted to see him continue to develop and grow. Last year as a junior, we actually told Sawyer he was going to be a pitcher because we didn't think he was offensive enough to hit. And then over the last year, as JD did, put in a tremendous amount of work ethic and came back this fall as an offensive force for us, and has been playing outfield and hitting more. He hasn't even stepped foot on the mound. But getting back to the Baylor story, so Sawyer applied to Baylor, as the coaches said he's going to have to get in on his own because I'm not sure if we can get him in. But we'll keep watching them and see about the invited walk-on thing. Well, Sawyer applies to Baylor, and unfortunately, he doesn't get accepted to Baylor on his own. And Sawyer's in my office about in tears about how sad he is not getting into Baylor. And he's like, Coach, do you think there's anything you can do? And I said, hey, we're going to do everything we can. I'm going to call Coach Strauss, the recruiting coordinator at Baylor. And, we just kept working on it. Well, little did I know, in the meantime, Sawyer was writing an appeal letter to the Office of Admissions at Baylor University on his own. And I got a phone call from Miss Shevlin actually telling me that he was doing this. And I was like, wow, that shows some determination there. Well, sure enough, after he wrote his appeal letter, he got accepted into Baylor University. Within a week, I had made several contacts with their coaches saying, hey, this kid, man, ultimate sign of resilience, really wants to be at Baylor. What do you know? What do you want to do? How can you help him out? I will vouch for this kid and want him to be on your roster because I think he will enjoy it when he gets there. Anyway, the Baylor coach flew out, watched him play one day, and offered him a recruited walk-on spot at Baylor University. So just awesome that you're getting to fulfill your dream, and I think it's just such a great example to all the other kids and all the other athletes pursuing those dreams. So Sawyer, hats off to you, man. Congratulations. Enough of me talking. I'm going to bring Jasmine Anderson back up.
All right, thank you so much again for coming today to support these amazing athletes. Lancers, we are so, so proud of you. God has gifted each and every one of you in incredible ways. Keep that with you and continue to serve Him through all of your gifts and talents, okay? Our prayers are with you, and we cannot wait to see what you continue to do in this next chapter, okay? So this now concludes today's event. We will now transition into pictures, so if you can turn your attention to Mr. Dave Cachaputi, he'll be providing directions for those photos. Thank you so much.